Beautiful.
I didn't get to finish singing it again. I even learned it all, too. I am Noxidar!
Hey everyone, how's it going? Noxidar here, and welcome to our next reaction in Delicious in Dungeon. Today, episode 7. You know, I feel like every single reaction that I come to, that I sit down to get ready to record, I'm always opening up with how much I enjoy this series. I hope that these things are just kind of self-evident as I'm going along with my recording, so I'm not gonna sit here and sound like a broken record. The fact is, this show is awesome. I'm loving every moment of it. I've just recently started picking up the manga and reading the manga. I don't want to read ahead of where we are in the anime, but it is really cool being able to get to the end of a volume and kind of see all the extra information about the world and the lore and the monsters and the creatures, things that a lot of you have been talking about in the comments. And so to actually finally be able to see some of that for myself is just, it's so cool. I love this world. I love the way the world is inferred and created, and like we talked about in the last couple episodes, the kind of mindset that goes into, you know, a sharp focus to create an expansive world. And I gotta say, Ryoko Kui is a master of that craft. I wondered about that title, and I'm like, do you think people read that title for, was it episode 5? The episode 5 reaction, and think it's a negative thing? I've wondered about that. Oh well. It's not. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that. It's not. I think it's just I think it's an incredible use of creativity, and there is, on some order of thinking, because it's a higher order of thinking, some level of genius that goes along with it. So let's go ahead and bask in that glow. I said I wasn't going to talk a whole bunch, and then I did. Psych!
Oh, they're not dead. Looks like they're just paralyzed.
Must have been those things. Can you heal them?
What?
Let's see.
Is this us? No way. Oh! Oh, yes! Interesting. I'm so glad they're not zombies.
A tall man, half foot, a dwarf too. They ate a meal in this exact spot.
Wait, what? Who would have the nerve to do that?
Our party would, that's for sure.
Here.
Thanks, kid.
Why didn't you just tell him the truth?
Why should I? More corpses means more money after all.
I imagine there would be a kind of a shady business attached to that, wouldn't it?
Bet you really want to wash your beard, right, Senshi? You don't even comb that thing, do you? We need to clean it now. Hair is actually pretty important for magic. Taking care of it is kind of like doing warm-up exercises.
Don't let Marcille fool you. Even she has to know on some order of things that naturally occurring beard oils is so good for keeping the luster and shine of a glorious beard. And who better to showcase that glorious beard than Senshi himself? That's right. Natural beard oils. At least that's what I tell myself.
If your beard's dirty, then my support magic might not work on you.
That's fine by me.
I just remembered I have some good soap with me. Let's wash your beard with that and braid it after. Back then, it must have.
Oh gosh.
Oh God, they got so much money.
Let's go. Underground water rushes out of holes in the bedrock, forming a large lake. The water is imbued with magic and glows faintly. At the bottom of the lake, you can see the castle town, rippling like a mirage.
I just want to stop for a moment and talk about how cool this image is. Within the last several years, I've been watching maybe more like live action TV shows and movies and things like that. But this is something that I've really been appreciating with anime, even going with One Piece, where I started with that, is just the vibrancy of colors and color palette, and especially the contrasting colors with your darks and your lights, and especially in this where you can see kind of the way the light is bouncing off of all these multiple surfaces. This is a gorgeous composition. I find that sometimes if I don't stop and talk about what I'm appreciating, I will actually lose focus for what is going on in the story, you know, the thing I should be focusing on. And so this is kind of how my brain works, is a lot of times for these reactions, I just have to stop and appreciate what's going on around a scene. And maybe this is like something that I learned a long time ago when I watched my favorite movie of all time, which is A Knight's Tale. And one of these days I want to do an appreciation reaction to that too, because you can watch A Knight's Tale a couple of times. You can watch what's going on in the foreground, right? The thing that they use for the storytelling. And then if you watch what's going on in the background, and almost every single scene, no actor drops character, and there's almost a second story that plays out in the background throughout the movie. It's genius. I love that movie so much. And so those are kind of things that I'm looking at, particularly with animation. I like to doodle and sketch things myself, so I'm always looking at shape, composition, color choice, and sometimes these things I have to sift through them, and then I can finally settle in and focus. So I just really wanted to state I love how vibrant this like blue is, and the way we get to it is by the contrasting ways that the shadows and the darker hues are kind of like setting the table, if we're going to go back to, you know, food prep and things like that. I don't know, I just get super excited about it. Okay, let's go ahead and continue.
Hey, Senshi, what exactly do you do when you're exploring this floor?
I usually just fish or lay traps all around this area. How do you folks get past this point?
Magic, of course.
Oh, that is cool.
And then we just walk across the water.
No! No! I
You don't have to throw such a fit.
This isn't gonna work. Tie him up and pull him along.
The boat is too risky. People are so quick to give in to the simple path.
I honestly don't get it. Why are you so opposed to magic?
You want to know what I don't get? How you lot can throw around spells all willy-nilly.
I think they both have a point, to be honest.
Wait, what? Why is the spell so ineffective? Is it because maybe his hair works as an insulator?
Seems likely with all this monster blood and oil caked in.
Seriously?
Yep,
Wash
the
my
oils.
thing already!
Don't worry about me. I'll cross the lake my own way.
Oh, that's so cool.
A Kelpie.
Careful, it's getting closer.
Calm down. She's harmless. I've always been curious about whether or not I could cross the lake with her.
That would be absolutely incredible.
I'm against this. All monsters are dangerous. Friendly ones are no exception. You never know a monster's true intentions.
Senshi!
Here, catch!
Oh, that's not a sweet face.
Stop it, Anne. Laios, forgive me, Anne. So she was just waiting for me to get on her back?
I can't even begin to understand how monsters think.
You loved her so much, but you're going to eat her?
Need a hand?
No. I'm doing this alone.
That would be kind of heartbreaking to feel like you have such a close kinship with someone, even like an animal in this instance. Like, heartbreak is heartbreak, you know, at the end of the day. It makes me think of, I think their names were Siegfried and Roy, right? And they always kept like all those tigers around with them. And I think one of them tragically passed away when just one of their tigers just turned on them. If I'm remembering that correctly, you can correct me down in the comments on that one. That was a long time ago, but you know, it's kind of like Laios says, like, you know, you just don't. You can build a relationship, but that doesn't necessarily mean you know the underlying motivations, and especially when those motivations change and what the trigger might be. You know, there's still so much that we just don't know because we don't have that close level of communication. And I do think that this is kind of important in highlighting that there is a profound love when there is that connection with nature itself. But there does need to, in some way, be a wariness that at any time, love can be misconstrued, even in the chaos of, wilderness. So it's sad to see this, but I'm really glad that that this is being highlighted as an aspect that, even within this ecosystem, within the dungeon, within this underground kingdom, that, these surface dwellers are set apart from this ecosystem. And, they have to be ever cautious. Every floor provides new challenges. And, I've talked at length before about just how I love the messaging in this show. And this hits pretty hard. I hope it makes for a good meal, though.
If it's no trouble, could I have a little bit of the fat?
Weren't you opposed to me doing this?
I was, but...
Seriously.
Oh, is she making soap?
Chilchuck. Huh? There's something floating over there.
Barley. Must be leaking from a bag.
Well, I found the owners.
Have we seen this guy before?
Yeah. Yes, you
I
have.
remember this kobold. We saw him knocked out on the 3rd floor, too.
How'd these guys get ahead of us?
They fought fishmen, huh?
That's unlucky.
Chilchuck?
Uh-oh.
Hey!
This can't be good.
Chilchuck!
What are you doing?
Stop!
Of course. Beautiful.
I didn't get to finish singing it again. I even learned it all, too. I think that should do it.
Man, their full party is crazy. I feel like we're missing members now.
This is the fish type. It has gills and lays eggs, so there's no belly button or nipples. Classification-wise, they're farther from humans than cows or pigs.
If you think about it for just a minute.
Still a no! Dad, tell me what's wrong with it! Why is a cow okay, but a fishman somehow isn't?
Okay, I gotta tell you this story. I'm sitting in a classroom in Japan, and when I worked at the elementary schools teaching English, I would often have lunch with the kids. The kids would take a cart with the day's lunch and eat inside of a classroom. And so this particular meal is shishamo. I have to tell you, this might be upsetting for a lot of you, but I'm not really much of a fish guy. And I learned really quick that I had to at least pretend to be a fish guy. And I thought I had this down pat until I met my rival, shishamo. So shishamo is it's like I believe it's just like a steamed whole fish. And there's a trick to it. I don't want to spoil that yet. And so I'm looking at a fish with like, I don't think it had its eyes in. I don't think. Yeah. So I'm looking at this eyeless fish laying dead on my tray. I think there's 2 of them. And I'm sitting there kind of eating around it, eating like the rice, eating the having some of the miso soup that went along with it. And and so I'm looking at this fish and I'm like, dude, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I have the constitution to work my way through this. And so I pick it up with my chopsticks and I'm looking at it and it's looking at me. And, I'm seeing a face. Now, granted, it's a horrifying face. It's like, and as I'm doing that, one of the kids just picks up theirs and they go, Teddy Sensei, eat the head. It's delicious. And they just bite off the head. They start chewing on it. I'm looking back at him. He's looking back at me. And I'm like, dude, I can't do this. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bite a section out of the stomach and I'm going to pretend I'm full. I'm a huge guy. And I'm like and I'm sitting in a small chair. I'm basically spilling out over everywhere. No one's going to buy for a minute that I was full. But I'm going to try. And so I bit the stomach, avoided the head, and here's where the trick of Shishamo comes in. It is stuffed with thousands of these little tiny salty eggs. So I bite into the stomach, it starts spilling out of my mouth on both sides, and I'm like, so I can identify with Chilchuck in this moment where, like, when something doesn't feel right, there might be a good reason for it.
They're still going at it.
I'm hungry, so let's start making something to eat. Soak the barley and put it over a flame.
Nice,
Pull
good
apart some
start.
Mimic meat and add a few water plants.
I'm on
Hold
board.
a second. Wasn't that growing out of the fish man's head?
Yes, but this is also a completely ordinary plant.
Fair enough.
You're not gonna let me eat it, are you?
Here we go again. All right, whatever. Do what you want. Why do I get the feeling that I just made a huge mistake?
I love that
All
face.
right, it's ready.
Man, that looks so good.
Does that taste okay?
Sure does.
I love her willingness to try at least this time. I feel like that's some extreme character growth.
This is for you. I made some soap from the Kelpie fat you gave me. Not only is it useful as a hair oil, but it's good for using on clothes and dishes too.
Mind if we use it right now?
Well, it may not be fully effective just yet.
That's fine with me. I want to make use of your hard work.
You really do?
Aw. Actually good. Wow. Yo. Get those waves out of there. It's got some leg to it. I love this. Jeez.
Senshi!
Now we can all cross the lake together.
If this experience has taught me anything, it's that walking on water feels nicer than I ever imagined it to be. So thanks, Marcel.
Man.
I think the soap's starting to sting my eyes a little.
What a beautiful lesson in respect. So we start with respect for nature, right? We start with that mutual respect of, like, we have a kind of connection, a link, especially even more in today's world, more than ever, you know, a responsibility, a stewardship, you know, having that reciprocated, you know, and that was the established relationship that Senshi had with Anne. To be fair, it was one that was kind of forged in a misunderstanding, you know, kind of like the boa constrictor. Oh, the boa constrictor just likes to cuddle with me in bed at night. Well, no, it's sizing you up to eat you, hun. So we kind of shift from that to, you know, one of the things that, like, Senshi is really kind of like rooted his character in is that, like, you know, hard work wins the day. Simple solutions are great, but they don't, you know, they don't infer any kind of lesson, any kind of discipline to it. So I'm so glad that I was right, at least that Marcel was making soap, and it took a twist to it that I wasn't expecting, but it makes so much sense. And this is, again, one of the things that I just like to highlight about what is so genius about this storytelling. Right? You know, I see, like, the grit and the determination she has to make this soap, to get that beard washed, and, you know, and that's really, like, the level of character I thought was going to go along with it. But then to see kind of this surrender in Senshi and this respect and admiration for all of the hard work she put into it, I really feel like the two of them learned so much about each other in that. And by extension, us, the audience, learned so much about their characters, and we have those opportunities to reflect on things like that. That's just the magic of storytelling, is we are able to insert ourselves into these worlds and go along with these lessons. That's why I always think of, like, stories as, you know, we talk about the theory of we're all living in a simulation. Well, one of the ways in which we interface with multiple simulations, multiple realities, is stories, storytelling, books, whatever media there is to tell a story, we're having experiences that may well sit outside of our own, realized experience. And I don't know, just this moment really kind of cements that for me. And it might just be that it's 5:30 a.m. and I'm delirious enough to fashion myself as some kind of philosopher. But anyways, what a cool part of the story. And it looks like we're only halfway done with the episode. Oh my goodness, we have more to go. Let's go.
Watch out! Ow! I said stop, didn't I?
Well, there goes that respect.
If their numbers dwindle, it's gonna affect the dungeon's ecosystem for sure.
True.
So if you kill them, do it one at a time.
Come to think of it, there does seem to be fewer mid-sized monsters.
There's a lot more bladefish than usual anyway. I don't think there's anything to worry about.
There's no
Don't you
predators.
care if we starve?
I'd rather not die to preserve a monster's ecosystem.
Ooh.
You need to be more considerate of the ecosystem.
Huh?
There's something coming this way.
Whoa.
Wait, that's a Kraken!
It is a Kraken. It is so awesome. I'm love to do this, but it happens so fast. There is just a scene where one of the things you could do to sell scale is to show size differential, right? There's another thing where you just see the shadow overtake Marcel, and I'm going to see if I can find it really quick so we can stop him and watch it. Right there, just the color change and everything darkens. Our whole scene is kind of light and vibrant, and just in a matter of seconds, shadow overtakes them before the crash, right? Like typically you would think almost in an animation, because this animation happens so fast that it's vibrant, we have easy visibility, and then the crash happens. But to take the time, even for just a few frames, to show that contrast in lighting, just would you just look at it? Look at all the it really shows the attention, the care, and the detail put into this. And so my hat's off to the animators. That is fantastic. I love that. All right, let's try to get back to where we were with our Kraken dude here.
This is bad. What spell do I
Marcel,
use?
you mind using that magic again?
What?
This one.
Oh, no way. Oh, I've done that as a DK in World of Warcraft.
You stab right between the eyes.
Oh, wild.
I can't believe big monsters have big parasites! If we cook this, does that mean we can eat it?
Please no!
Well, I don't see why we couldn't.
Ugh. I mean, it is vibrant. It's looking pretty good now.
I'm irritated because it's actually starting to smell good.
I have a feeling you probably shouldn't have ate that raw.
So good! Tender. There is a little bit of sliminess to it, but if you look past that, it's so flavorful and meaty. My stomach's feeling...
Yeah, you think?
Are you okay? What happened?
I see. Laios, seems you managed to catch a parasite from eating the giant parasite.
Wow, that's meta.
I saw it when I was cutting it up.
Oh no.
Once inside, they will rip holes in your stomach. Well, I guess we'll have to wait until the bug dies.
I might be the one to die first.
Hit him with healing magic every so often. All right.
Laios ate the Kraken's parasite, and now the parasite from that parasite is forming a hole in his stomach.
It's lovely. Isn't that wonderful, Laios?
Laios wanted to say something, but due to the intense pain and urge to vomit, he couldn't quite form a sentence. The distinct feeling of having a knife slashing at his insides continued through the night. Afterward, he vowed never to consume a raw parasite ever again.
That was so awesome. And I really loved the message of preserving the ecosystem. And it's something that with the students that I've been working with this year, we've been studying like endangered species and things like that. And one of the ones that I've really taken an interest in lately is the great hammerhead, of which there are just a few hundred left globally, which is pretty sad because I think it's one of my favorite looking sharks for sure. Stories just have a way of really kind of bringing those topics and presenting them and packaging them in an entertaining way, but also a way to kind of give deeper insight into our own lived reality experience. And so that's kind of the beautiful thing about stories and about being able to simulate those things. So again, the messaging in this whole story with Delicious and Dungeon is just fantastic. There are these incredible character moments, there's these incredible story moments, and then there's these incredible moments of insight that provide clarity. And so I do hope that you who are also watching this show along with me are able to kind of stop and appreciate those things beyond even just the beautiful colors and the beautiful sound and the humor and things like that, that you are taking something from this story, just the way that, you know, they took the insides and the hair from Kelpie and merman fishmen, I guess. Yeah, just incredible. I'm so in love with this show. I'm having such a good time with it. And man. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to add. That was I can't really think of anything else to add. I think this is going to be an episode that I think about for the rest of the day, because again, I'm recording this really early in the morning, which in some ways I feel like I have more energy than I do at the end of the day after a long day and trying to sit down and record. So I might do more of these, to be honest. At any rate, I hope everybody has a fantastic day whenever it is that you get around to catching this episode, and I thank you so much for tuning into this reaction, and I can't wait for our next adventure in Delicious in Dungeon. I'll see you in the next one. This is Noxidar, out.